Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. I'm just going to give everybody a minute or two to get in on this episode. Today, we're going to be talking about McGregor versus Khabib. This is the pre-fight analysis, official pre-fight analysis. Like always, please give me a thumbs up if the sound is good. I believe I set it up well this time. What's up, guys? Thank you for joining this episode. We're going to be talking about Conor McGregor versus Khabib. This is the official pre-fight analysis. Please, guys, give me a thumbs up if you hear me loud and clear. I believe I've set it up all good. Connor Kelly, thank you very much. Joel, thank you very much. Very appreciated. All right, guys. Usually I wait till there's 50 people in the chat room, but before I start taking your comments and seeing who you guys think is going to win, I'm going to give you guys a brief rundown of who I think is going to win, what I think is going to happen in this fight. Now, of course, these are very hard things to predict. These are not, don't go bet the house on this. This is just my opinion, and of course, there's so much that can happen in this fight. Okay, but first off, I want to talk about Conor. Okay, first off, I want to talk about Conor. I want to talk about his style, what he brings to the table in this fight, and of course, how that's going to clash with Khabib. Because at the end of the day, I really see these two fighters as on the same level. You know, they're both world class, in the top 1%, and their skill level is incredible. But how is their style? I'm more concerned about how their style is going to clash with one another. Now, we all know McGregor. He's got a phenomenal striking style. His striking style has been tried and true. I was just watching his fight with Mayweather yesterday. I was going over some footage. And really, he did such an amazing job in that fight. Now, of course, he didn't win the fight. But for those of you who are not familiar with the boxing world, he was fighting arguably the greatest pound-for-pound fighter alive today, and maybe of all time as well. Pound for pound, speaking pound for pound. Now, Mayweather is not a knockout artist, okay? He's not a guy who's a big puncher. He hasn't had a knockout in many years. The last guy he knocked out was Ortiz, and it was kind of for those of you who didn't see it, it was kind of a weird knockout. Ortiz had thrown a few violent headbutts towards Mayweather. Let's see if I can pull that up. Actually, I think I can pull it up. Let's see, Ortiz versus Mayweather. For those of you who didn't see it, it was a weird knockout. Okay, it was a really weird knockout. Let me see if I can prop it up here, put it up. It'll be fun for us all to watch. Let's see if I can get it going here. Here's the Ortiz fight, the Victor Ortiz fight versus Mayweather. It had a really weird ending. Okay, so what happened in this fight? Ortiz was repeatedly headbutting Mayweather, and Mayweather just got really angry with him. And as the referee came in, stepped in, tried to break it up. For those of you who are listening to this on podcast on iTunes, I'm showing a video of Ortiz getting knocked out by Mayweather. At the end of the day, he was violently headbutting Mayweather. Ortiz was just totally cheating, totally just headbutting him violently. The referee finally steps in, puts an end to the ordeal, warns him, tells him he's going to disqualify him if he continues. As he goes to apologize to Mayweather, what happens? Mayweather puts the gloves on him. Here it is. As he's apologizing, trying to hug Mayweather. There's the left hook. I believe there's a right hand right after. There it is. He's going to drop him to the canvas. And that was Mayweather's last knockout. Okay? He hadn't had a knockout. That was like 5 years before he fought, before he fought McGregor. McGregor was probably about 20 pounds heavier than Mayweather. So it wasn't an easy fight, guys. It was definitely not an easy fight. Skill-wise, Mayweather, he's up there with everyone. There's nobody who can, he's up there with an Ali. You know, he's up there in terms of skill. He's up there with an Ali. He's up there with everyone. And he's not a big threat in terms of knockout. Like I said, this was his last knockout, and this was many years ago, and it wasn't that impressive of a knockout. Okay, not to put not to knock on Mayweather here. You know, Mayweather's the man, but he's not a knockout puncher. He's broken his hand countless times in his career. He's tried to, see every expert there is in the game to try to fix his hands. He's not a dangerous fight. But he's hard to beat. And McGregor did such a good job in the first 3-4 rounds fighting Mayweather. Now, Paulie Malignaggi, one of the commentators, said something very interesting during this fight. He said McGregor's got such a long reach. He's got these bizarre long arms, these really long arms. that he can get punches off at different angles that most people can't. And I agree with that 100%. One thing in particular that McGregor was doing on Mayweather was whenever Mayweather would throw with that right hand, McGregor would throw this beautiful left uppercut. Beautiful left uppercut. And he caught him in round one with it. And he threatened Mayweather often with that left uppercut. And it was a beautiful punch that you don't see very often. And the reason why you don't see it very often is because it takes a lot of reach. You got to have a very, very long reach to do these kind of punches. Why? Because you're letting your guard down. You know, to throw that uppercut, you got to drop your left hand. And he was just frustrating Mayweather early on with it. Now, I know a lot of you are going to say Mayweather was carrying him. Mayweather was just letting him work. After the fight, Mayweather said, in the early rounds, our game plan was just to let McGregor throw all his big shots. Go ahead, throw all your big shots, and I'm going to get you in the later rounds. You also heard Mayweather Sr. between rounds. Mayweather Sr. between rounds, after round one or after round two, told his son, Mayweather Jr., he said, let him work. Just let him work. Let him empty his tank. You know, just let him fire away. You're going to get him round 6 and up. You're going to go after him round 6 and up. That was their game plan. I believe it. Okay. Now, I don't think he was carrying him, trying to make him look good, but I believe that Mayweather definitely wasn't concerned with the earlier rounds. He was not concerned with the earlier rounds. He wanted to let McGregor work. He wanted to let McGregor use all that explosive power, you know, drain his ATP, drain his glycogen a bit. It's going to be a lot safer to go after McGregor in the later rounds. Now, why am I saying all this? Well, I'm saying all this because if Khabib were to try to trade with McGregor early on in the boxing realm, straight boxing, I think it'll be a great night for McGregor. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is that exchanging punches with McGregor early on could be disastrous for Khabib. Why am I saying that? Because it is very difficult even for an elite boxer to do that. Why is it so difficult? Well, one, McGregor is incredibly skilled. He's got incredible precision. He's got punches from weird angles. He's incredibly dangerous with that left hand, either uppercut or straight left. He's precise, he's skilled, but he's also got this phenomenal reach. Now, I don't care if Khabib's reach is even comparable, okay? Because I know Mayweather, when Mayweather was fighting McGregor, he had never fought a man with such a long reach. McGregor has the longest reach from any opponent Mayweather has ever fought in his entire career. Now, think about that. Think about what an anomaly his reach is, how amazing that reach is. He did have 20 pounds on Mayweather. He did have an incredible reach. Mayweather's not a knockout puncher. But still, when it comes to skill, Mayweather is in a class that no MMA fighter has ever reached. When it comes to boxing skill, okay? No doubt about it. I think we could all agree that there is no puncher at the level of Mayweather in the octagon. There never has been and very likely will never be. Okay, so the fact that McGregor did so well, the fact that McGregor gave so many difficulties, such bizarre angles that worked early on in the fight, they worked. I would have given at least the first 3 rounds to McGregor and maybe even the first 4 to McGregor. So I understand that there was a lot of strategy at play and that things were, Mayweather was conceding those rounds in a sense. He's done it in the past. Okay, he's let rounds go in the past. Why? It has to do with strategy. Okay, he believed that it would be too risky to go after McGregor probably in the earlier rounds. He wanted to set him up for a KO in the later rounds. So in that sense, I do agree that Mayweather was coasting, but not because he wanted to make McGregor look good, because it was for him the safer route. In Mayweather's words, he wanted to take McGregor down the stretch. In Mayweather's words, he said it after the fight, I wanted to get him down the stretch. Now, why am I saying all this? Because I'm hoping that Khabib will come up with the same strategy. I think this is the way to beat McGregor. If you try to glove up with McGregor early in rounds 1 and 2, you will probably get knocked out. McGregor's punching is in another league. Especially as in round 1 and 2. Now, What else does McGregor have that he does so well? Well, he's got beautiful kicks. He's got fantastic kicks. Now, when he does his kicks, a lot of people say they're setup kicks, etc., for his hands, and I agree, there are setup kicks for his hands, but they're also very dangerous. Now, the best kick he ever connected, in my opinion, was against Diego Brandao. For those of you who haven't seen that fight, he hit Diego Brandao with a spinning hook kick. It hit him right on the chin. It was a beautiful kick. It was one of those kicks. It was actually a kick he tried to do on Diaz, but missed totally. On Diaz, he missed totally. With Diego Brandao, he landed it right on the button. The commentators actually missed it. He kind of wobbled and dropped Brandao, but there was so much excitement beforehand, and things were piling on. He was touching Brandao with his hands, and then snuck in that spin kick, and then just jumped on Brandao. So there was so much chaos. There was so much things being thrown by McGregor. The commentators didn't mention it, but it was such a beautifully well-placed kick, and that kick can drop any man. Okay, the spinning hook kick. It's a very, very dangerous kick. Now, Brandao tried to throw it on Khabib and missed by a hair. You know, he just kind of like grazed him slightly. And then Barboza threw that same kick against Kevin Lee and caught Kevin Lee. For those of you who don't remember that fight, who haven't seen that fight, Kevin Lee was dominating the first few rounds very easily. He was just grounding and pounding and just all over Barboza. And then later on, Barboza threw that spin kick, caught Kevin Lee flush and dazed Kevin Lee. Kevin Lee was on those skates. Kevin Lee was hurt. And then he was able to recompose himself and get another takedown and keep dominating the fight. But it was a scary moment. Now, McGregor's got that kick in his arsenal. He does. And that's a very powerful kick. Now, he also threw some very, very beautiful kicks that didn't connect against Dustin Poirier. But when he threw them against Dustin Poirier, it controlled the distance for him. You saw Dustin Poirier back up, respect those kicks. He was difficult to pressure because of his kicks. He was throwing some beautiful kicks early on. Some lead side hook kicks. That those kicks, if you don't respect them, you'll be lying down on the canvas. Okay, so McGregor's got some beautiful kicks. But the downside to throwing those kicks, you know, those teeps to the body that he did so well against Chad Mendes. He did some beautiful, beautiful teeps to the body against Chad Mendes. Those kicks, though, if you throw them against Khabib, they can either land big or they can backfire greatly. Why? Because when you're throwing a kick against Khabib, you can get your foot caught, and then it's an easy takedown for Khabib. It can be a very easy takedown for Khabib. Now, those pokes to the body that he does so well with those teeps, you know, those left teeps that he did against Chad Mendes, they work beautifully. They're beautiful. It's a beautiful move. If you got that long leg, if you got that Anderson Silva long spider legs like McGregor does, those are beautiful kicks. But in my opinion, throwing those against Khabib is very different than throwing them against a Chad Mendes. Very, very different, okay? Khabib's single leg ability, his ability to grab a single leg. For those of you who don't know, in wrestling, a single leg is a very popular takedown, obviously, no doubt about it. It's a staple takedown. It's when you're holding essentially one leg. It's a high-skill maneuver. A single leg takes a lot of brains. Okay, it takes a lot of brains, it takes a lot of know-how. Now, a double leg is also a skilled maneuver, but far less. Okay, because when you have if you're a wrestler and you're not as skilled, but you're super athletic, you got a lot of torque, you got a lot of power, you can make a double leg work. Okay, a single leg, however, you need a lot of skill. Now, torque and power always helps. Okay, but single legs are much more of a finesse move. They're considered far more of a finesse maneuver than a double leg. Okay, a double leg is pretty simple. Now, if McGregor kicks, especially to the body, in my opinion, a lot of the times it can end up as a single leg for Khabib. And McGregor doesn't want that, okay? As much as he's wrestling, Khabib's been wrestling since the day he can walk, okay? If he gets to the single leg, he's very likely to score. He's very, very likely to score those single legs. So I think that McGregor is going to punch a lot, kick very little, even though his kicks are excellent. Now, another key kick that McGregor threw, which he hasn't thrown in his career very much, was the low kick against Diaz. In their rematch, he started low kicking Diaz. Now, we all know that Diaz has been notorious. He's been very well known for not being able to deal with low kicks. Every time he fought somebody who threw heavy low kicks, he almost always did bad. When he fought RDA, when he fought Rory McDonald, he just got his legs mashed up. Okay, so McGregor, not a low kicker. Not really a low kicker, you know. Before that, we didn't see too many low kicks. He started low kicking in the third round. If you all remember, in the second round in their rematch, McGregor versus Diaz, in the rematch, part 2, in the second round, McGregor was dominating early, hurting Diaz, but then Diaz started to come back, and it seemed like it was the replay of the first fight. And he survives the round. McGregor survives the round. It was a closer round, but I still gave it to McGregor because McGregor had knocked down Diaz. Third round, McGregor starts low kicking Diaz, and Diaz kind of backs up. And it kind of gave that breathing room that McGregor needed. McGregor needed some breathing room because if he didn't get those low kicks going, I didn't think he would be able to put Diaz away with the hands. You know, the pop wasn't there, and I think Diaz could have took over. This is not going to be the case with Khabib. He's not going to be able to low kick Khabib. It'll be highly unlikely he low kicks Khabib. Why? Because if you low kick Khabib, you're probably going to end up on your back. You're probably going to get taken down, and you're going to be put away. So kicking in this fight is highly dangerous for McGregor. I'm not saying he's not going to kick. I think he will kick. He'll probably do the oblique kick, the side kick to the knee. He'll probably, pick and poke with the legs, retracting them very, very quickly to avoid having his legs gripped. But eventually, if he gets too happy with those kicks, if he throws too many kicks, he will get taken down. Okay, he will get taken down. So his best bet is to put the hands on Khabib, avoid the clinch as much as possible, and land those incredible shots from different weird angles. Like Pauline Malignaggi said, he said it brilliantly. He's got to hit Khabib. He's got to use those weird angles Khabib has never seen before. And he's got to catch Khabib coming in. Now, what's Khabib bringing to the table? Well, Khabib is bringing a lot to the table. Okay, and after this, I'm going to keep this brief and short. I know I've been talking for a while, and then I'm going to take your comments, questions, analysis. I want to hear what you guys have to say. So I'm going to do Khabib now, and I'm going to keep it a little bit shorter. Okay, just because I realized that I went too long on McGregor. So here we go. Khabib, obviously a master of single leg. He does a great shot against Iaquinta. He did such a great job at changing level early on, getting low on that single. Now McGregor's a southpaw. The lead leg is going to be even closer than it was against Iaquinta. When you have two fighters on opposite stance, the lead legs, sometimes you'll see their feet touching. They're stepping on each other's toes. The single leg is easier to shoot on a southpaw. Why? Because the lead leg is closer to me. It makes the double a little bit harder, but the single leg easier. Now, who's a master of single leg? It turns out it's Khabib. Khabib is a master of single leg. That single leg is going to be hard to avoid because Khabib shoots it very low, and he knows how to fillet that leg. Look, he knows 101 ways to finish a single leg. If McGregor kicks, it's just going to be easier for Khabib to grab. It's going to be easier for Khabib to grab. Now, I think that last fight against Iaquinta, Khabib showed improved boxing. He did a good job. Against when he fought Michael Johnson, he got tagged up a lot coming in. Okay, so we saw that the head movement wasn't there against the Michael Johnson fight. In the Iaquinta fight, it was better. It still wasn't phenomenal. It was better, still not phenomenal. It could be an easy target for McGregor, especially with McGregor's reach and his power. Now, Michael Johnson has really good precision, really good speed as well. And he scored against Khabib. He did. And he's got power too. Khabib was fortunate enough not to get hurt. He took some shots. He took them well. He stayed composed. He ended up taking down Michael Johnson and finishing him later on with the TKO. Ground and pound. Now, we know that Khabib can get hit. We know he can take a shot. But the big question is, can he take a shot from McGregor? I would venture that he should. I would tell him not to even, never to find out. This is not something you want to find out on fight night. It's too dangerous. Okay, it's way too dangerous. Conor McGregor's shots are just way too dangerous. If he does get hit, it could be lights out. The single leg is going to be easier to grab. That's the good news. The bad news is that I don't know if he has the speed or head movement to close the distance. We're going to find out on fight night. Now, here's the really good news for Khabib. If he gets on top of McGregor, he's going to drain McGregor. He's going to take away those precision strikes. If McGregor were to survive a round underneath Khabib, I don't know if he'll be able to come back in the next round with the same precision, the same accuracy, and the same pop and the same power. His striking ability might take a beating. Okay, why? Because having Khabib on top of you, working his ground and pound, working his breakdowns, breaking you back down to the mat is exhausting. It could really take away a lot from your striking. So I think that if Khabib gets a couple of takedowns early on, the striking won't matter so much anymore. It's just going to be it's going to be an avalanche of takedowns, possibly. If he breaks McGregor on the ground, hurts him, fatigues him. We've seen that McGregor in hard fights slows down. His left hand seems more human. His distance control is not so precise anymore. We saw that with the Mayweather fight. After round 7, that's it. Those bizarre shots were gone. It just seemed like he couldn't keep Mayweather off him. It just wasn't going to happen. And he started it. If you guys don't remember, he started initiating a lot of clinching. He saved himself by clinching Mayweather. He won't have that luxury with Khabib. If he does that with Khabib, things will get worse. He'll get pulled down to the mat. He'll get snapped down. He'll get thrown. He'll get tossed to the mat. So obviously that's not a great game plan for him. McGregor, obviously he knows that. He won't be doing that in the fight. But I'm just saying he won't have the same survival mechanism that'll work for him like he had with a Diaz. With Diaz, he can clinch up a lot with Diaz. Diaz is not a big thrower. Even though he did throw McGregor in the 5th round, he did a beautiful foot sweep in their second fight. I believe it was the second fight. Yeah, of course, the second fight went to the distance. He won't have that luxury with Khabib. He won't be able to clinch up as much as he did with Diaz in the Khabib fight. He won't. He'll get thrown. He'll get taken down. He'll get mauled. So, what's my pick for this fight? Okay, well, listen. These kind of fights, guys, every time I do a pre-fight analysis, I'm always picking the hardest fights to pick, guys. These fights are 50-50. Really, that's what they are. That's why you always see my odds. The odds I always give is like 51-49. Why? Because I see this as such a competitive fight. And that's the only fights I really want to do breakdowns on, okay? I'm not going to do breakdowns on fights that are obvious. Why? And no fights are obvious, but some fights are, they're easier to call. Why? Why is that? Because the most exciting fights, people tune into fights only when they don't know what's going to happen. If we're going to see a rematch, down the line between Kevin Lee versus Barboza, nobody's going to watch that fight. We're not going to bother doing a pre-fight analysis because we all probably think that the same thing is going to happen, right? So we'll be less excited for that fight. We're always excited for fights where we're like, what's going to happen? Like, there's just one really good fighter on this side, another great fighter on this side, and we're intrigued. We just don't know what's going to happen. Those are the best fights. Those are the only ones we're ever going to analyze. So these are hard to call fights. Now, this fight, in my opinion, I'm going to give, the way I see it, is a 50-50 fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I can't tell you that I know for a fact that McGregor is going to catch him on the way in or that Khabib is going to score those takedowns. I don't know. Nobody knows. It's such a 50-50 fight. However, I do believe that whoever gets his way is going to have a shining night that night. That night is going to be, he's going to look like the greatest lightweight of all time. Why? Because whoever gets to the fight in his wheelhouse is going to win by head and shoulders, in my opinion. Now, if Khabib gets it to the ground, it's going to be a Khabib show. And if McGregor keeps it standing, it's going to be the McGregor show. What I don't expect to happen is a seesaw battle back and forth, going on the ground, standing back up, going on the ground, standing back up, exchanges, standing up, heated exchanges. I don't really see that. Okay, now it's possible. Anything is possible. And oftentimes the most unlikely thing happens. Sometimes it does happen. Okay, so it's possible that it goes 5 rounds, grinding, McGregor getting back up to his feet, throwing some shots, landing, connecting, Khabib answering back, taking him back down, scrambling on the ground. Maybe even McGregor gets a takedown, and maybe Khabib lands some big shots standing up. These things can happen, okay? The unexpected can happen. I just don't see it that way. I think it'll be a heated battle if McGregor hurts Khabib early, but Khabib survives the rounds. And then McGregor kind of slows down, but Khabib's still alive. Now, his takedowns are not as good because he got tagged up early around, and then it can become more heated. These things can happen, no doubt about it, okay? But I think it would be because McGregor slows down later in the later rounds and Khabib is damaged, okay? But I think either McGregor's going to win big in the first round and a half. So let's say the first 2 rounds. But if he doesn't win big, it's going to be the Khabib show. So that's my call, guys. I'm giving it 50-50. That was me going on for about 24 minutes. I hope I didn't bore you guys. Now I would like to take your comments and questions, your analysis. But before I do that, let's just see you all. I want you to type an M for McGregor or a K for Khabib. Let me know who you think is going to win. I want to see a quick overview of what we have here in the crowd today. What do you guys expect in this fight? Give me a K for Khabib if you think Khabib is going to win. And give me an M if you think McGregor is going to win. All right, let's see what we got here. I got 50-50 so far. Lots of K's and M's popping up. Oh, man, lots of... this is a pretty tight call, guys, I got to say. I think you guys are pretty much in agreement with my analysis. This is just... some people are typing M and K. That's exactly what I was thinking. You know, this is a tough one, guys. This is a really, really tough... look, it's about 50-50 in the chat room. All right, guys. So let me start taking your comments, your questions on this fight. Tell me what you guys think. I will comment on your comments or answer your questions. Guys, I'm not doing any comments or questions on anything outside of the McGregor fight today. Ash, thank you very much for the super chat. Guys, I know you guys are sending me super chats, but I am answering only questions on this fight today. We are doing an analysis on McGregor and Khabib. How do you see this fight going down? Let me know your comments and questions on this fight. I know you guys might be hearing some howling in the background. That's the wind. We're having a windy day here up in Montreal. And that is the wind howling in the background. All right, let's see what we got here. How will Khabib react to Conor stuffs his first few takedowns? Will he be in huge trouble? Yes, in my opinion, I think he will be. But he won't panic. You have to understand, he's been wrestling his whole life. He's when you say stuffed, you mean what he means by is being rejected. His takedown's been rejected. He's tried to take down and failed. Okay. Now the thing is with wrestlers, the seasoned wrestlers, when they fail a takedown, they don't panic. Like I always say that, like when guys come in the gym and they want to learn wrestling, and we show them like 10 different takedowns and make them drill it all month, and they're drilling, and then what happens? They go in there, they try the takedown, and it fails, and they panic, and you see them trying harder, and they get in this frenzy. That shows inexperience. Okay, I miss takedowns all the time in the gym. I stay cool. A seasoned wrestler knows that, like boxing, you know, if you look at a boxer, even like the most accurate punchers, like Mayweather, in a 12-round fight, he'll probably have an accuracy of about 24%. Okay, which is very high in boxing. So think about it. About 75% of his shots he missed. Think about that. 76%, whatever. Let's say 70% of his punches. Let's say he had a great night. He missed 70% of his punches. You got to take wrestling the same way. If you miss 70% of your takedowns, it's not that bad as long as you get 1 or 2 in a round. You know, as long as we're clinching, as long as we're tying up and I'm making you work, I'm softening you up for a takedown. I only need 1 or 2 to really change the momentum of the fight. And I think Khabib has, he's been fighting so long, so many years, he understands that. So if he gets stuffed here and there, he won't panic. He won't get into a frenzy. That's the key. If he misses a shot and starts panicking, he's dead in the water. Now, I felt like some guys who fought McGregor, they panicked a bit, but it wasn't necessarily because they missed a takedown or two. It's because of that left hand. That left hand, you see the guys, when they get hit with that left hand, there's something up with that left hand. That left hand is something serious, okay? He's got a gift there. He's got a talent in that left hand. That's something I personally believe you're born with, okay? And I've held pads for thousands of different, bodies and people. Some people just have a ferocious power. They're not super technical. They just hit the pad, and that's been the experience of many trainers. I've talked to many trainers, and you feel it on the pads. People, you can make them a little bit stronger on the pads, but they're born with that power. And I'm sure McGregor, he's got. I've never been hit by his left hand, but obviously, he's got a great left hand, no doubt about it. So. I don't think Khabib will panic, but here's the plus that Khabib has. Khabib, if he misses a shot, he can come up to the upper body. His upper body takedowns are really good. He's phenomenal with the body locks, the tie-ups. He took down countless bodies in the UFC with upper body clinching, judo takedowns. Don't forget, his father's a national judo champion in Russia. So don't forget. I mean, that's a, he has a world-class coach since he's a kid, teaching him upper body throws. So if he gets a lock on McGregor's body, if he ties his hands around McGregor's body, he'll get a takedown very likely. All right, what else we got here? Javier Mendez said that Khabib cannot stand with McGregor, and McGregor cannot grapple with Khabib. How much do you believe that what he's having? How much do you believe that having this clarity will help Team Khabib? Totally. Rajneesh, if he said that, I haven't heard him say that. Well, that's a great news. You want to know. You don't want to go in there thinking you can trade with a guy who's better than you at stand-up. Don't box with McGregor. That's just not a smart strategy. There's a whole line of guys who've proven that already. Okay, so trading with him early, from what we've learned in the past, is a big mistake. Now Nate Diaz is a really good boxer, okay? But he's not going to do well with McGregor early in the rounds. He'll do well with McGregor later in the rounds. It was very neck and neck, and it came down actually to McGregor's low kicks, not even the boxing. The boxing, we can give a slight edge maybe here and there in certain pockets of the fight to Diaz. So we can say that Diaz's competence, his skill in boxing is as good as McGregor later in the rounds. Early on, though, it wasn't. Early on, it was all McGregor all day long. So Khabib would be wise to soften him up. Soften him up early and get the clinching going on. Even if you don't take him down, you got to tie him up. I heard the first days the next month. Okay, I don't know what you mean by that. Let's continue here. Can Khabib take McGregor's punches? Well, if we're talking about his best punches, I don't know. Listen, if we look at the left hand, the history of that left hand, in the first, let's call it 7 minutes, 7.5 minutes of fighting. So the first round and a half, it seems that nobody's able to take those shots comfortably. Everybody who's gotten hit with that left hand, except for maybe Max Holloway. You know, Max Holloway that night, McGregor just didn't score super well with the left. But maybe it's Max Holloway's chin. I don't know. But other than that exception, it hasn't seemed very easy to resist. Okay, McGregor's lit up people and staggered them and hurt them badly. Guys who we know have good chins, really badly. He's hurt them really badly. So in my opinion, no, it's not a good venture. We won't find out until it happens or if it happens. But it's not something I would bet on. You know, I think it looks that if McGregor lands a few hard lefts, it could be a bad night for Khabib. Now, guys, I just want to give a quick thank you to timtam.tech. They make the world's best deep tissue therapy device. Guys, if you train seriously, pick up a Tim Tam. Get the power, Tim Tam Power. It's the world's best, most powerful deep tissue device. It's real percussion. It's not a vibration machine. Don't get those vibration guns. Those are weak. They don't go deep into the tissue. You need true percussion. It's the number one best true percussion machine. And, of course, if you want to train at the Tristar Gym, check out, write an email to tsdorms, Tristar Dorms. The email address is right up on the screen, tsdorms@gmail.com. Tell them what weeks you want to come in, or if you want to stay for a month, a weekend, a week, and you want to train with me, GSP, and the gang. Ask the dorms for a quote. Write them an email. Say you want to come in for the weekend. How much is it? They'll get you a room. There are different rates, different rooms, different options. You get your own private room with a shower, internet, and you can train with me every single day. Check out the email tsdorms. tsdorm. Oh snap! Hold on. I think I might have. I think it is tsdorms. Guys, I'm going to correct that in the description. My apologies. I had put it up correctly. I don't know why it's bugging out on me here. No, it's typed in well here. Hold on. Let me fix this right here. It's tsdorms. See, I'm happy I caught that. Let me throw that over here. My mistake, gentlemen. I had typed it in the wrong spot. It's tsdorms@gmail.com. Write them. Ask them. Let them know how long you're going to stay. They're going to send you a quote. It's you'll get a really good price, and you can train as much as you want. We have people training from all over the world at Tristar Gym right now. Packed house, madhouse, grappling, wrestling, jiu-jitsu, striking. Every day is a madhouse. Come join the fun. All right, guys, let's continue here with your comments and questions. What do you guys think? How do you see this fight happening? McGregor knocks out Khabib with a straight left in the second round. That is a possibility. It has happened in the past. I wouldn't doubt him that he can pull it off. It is impossible for Conor to out-wrestle Khabib. Is it impossible for Conor to out-wrestle Khabib? Listen, I personally I think he can defend takedowns against Khabib, especially if he hurts him or things get really sweaty in the later rounds. Single legs can get very slippery, but the likelihood is that he gets taken down. Now, Khabib has taken down literally every single guy he's ever fought. I can't think of a single guy, with the exception of one fight, I believe. I think he had one fight where he couldn't get a takedown. What fight was that again? Remind me, guys, please. It was I'm forgetting the name of the fighter, but yes, I think there's only one fight where he didn't get a takedown. Okay, now that fighter in question, let's not name him. He later got busted for illegal substance, and then after that, and when he came back, he didn't have such a success. You know, he wasn't such a hard wrestler to take down or box. He wasn't performing as well anymore. So I'm sure when he fought Khabib, it's very likely that he was on some, whatever. Let's keep it at that. But this won't be the case in this fight. Okay, this is going to be two natural or two tested guys, and it's going to come down to actual talent and skill here. And I think Khabib gets the takedown. If he gets the grips, if he gets to the single leg, if he gets to the body lock. But McGregor definitely can defend a few for sure. But can he take down Khabib? Can he out-wrestle Khabib? Khabib would have to be really hurt. Khabib would have to be really, really hurt. It would have to be one of those, like, he hit Khabib on the chin a few times. Khabib doesn't know where he is right now and then gets taken down. That's a possibility. Okay, but I doubt that McGregor will even shoot on him if he has him dazed. He's very comfortable at picking shots from afar with that long reach of his. Who do you think is going to have the psychological advantage? Well, that's a good question, and that's from Space Monkey. Space Monkey, that's a phenomenal question. That's a really, really good question. Now, listen, we all know that McGregor is going to talk mad amount of smack. Okay, we know that McGregor is going to just, he's going to say 1,001 things. And I find that he gets in the head of his opponents. I really find that some of his opponents didn't fight right. They didn't fight well. Because I think that they were so insulted, mainly Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo, in my opinion, did the worst thing humanly possible in his fight. He was fighting a counterpuncher with a long reach, who's very dangerous in round one. And what did he do? He telegraphed the two biggest shots he's ever thrown in his career. He leaped in on a counterpuncher, and he did it early. And that was really the number one mistake. Now, why? Why did he do that mistake? Well, it's definitely not because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a phenomenal striker. He's a very seasoned striker with a lot of experience, a lot of brains, very well trained. He went in Cuba and he trained in Cuba for that fight as well. He brought in a McGregor lookalike. He did everything he needed to do. However, when it came down to play the game, he threw two very angry punches. Why did he throw two angry punches? Why didn't he do what his trainers taught him to do? What his muscle memories programmed to do? Because if he threw those punches in practice, I'm sure the Cuban coaches would tell him not to do that. I'm sure his coach Pendeneres would tell him not to do that. I'm sure he would probably miss in practice. He's got some skilled training partners, and he would probably gas himself out punching like that. If you do that in front of a boxing coach, he'll tell you that's not good. Don't do that. Why did he do that? Well, because he wanted to punish McGregor. He wanted to hurt McGregor. He didn't want to box McGregor. He didn't want to fight McGregor. He wanted to punish and hurt McGregor. Now, if Khabib falls into the same trap, he's going to end up in the same result. I'm hoping that Khabib is learning from Jose Aldo's mistakes. Why? Because we want to see a good fight. And we want to see what Khabib has been trained to do since he's young. Now, I think that... I think Khabib's smart, and he's just going to laugh off whatever McGregor says. I think so. Why? Because, Khabib's also, mentally, he's also very strong. And, Khabib's comes from a... the thing is, I thought also the same thing of Jose Aldo. I thought, Jose comes from the favela, when you've come from hard parts of the world, when you've come from, difficulty, you kind of have a mental strength, right? Because you clawed your way to the top. It wasn't easy for you. So you have that mental strength. You had nothing. You know what it is to have nothing. But still, surprisingly, Aldo lost his nerve. Lost his head, I should say. Now, maybe Khabib learns from Aldo's mistake. Hard to tell, Nobody will know unless Khabib, nobody will know. Only Khabib could truly answer that question. Now, will he give you a truthful answer? I don't know. We'll have to see how the trash talking goes and see if there's any signs. It's hard to tell. Again, McGregor's a great trash talker, though, so it's hard for me to tell. Very hard to tell. But thank you for that question. It was fun to speculate on it. But ultimately, only Khabib would know. Coach, do you think Conor will use front kicks? Maybe later in the fight. But if he does them early on, he's going to get taken down. I think they're risky. Risky in round one. Very risky in round one. Much respect from Russia, from Robert. Thank you, Robert. You are one of my favorite experts in the business. Could you give me your take on mental issues between the two? Who could probably have the edge? Well, you know what? Listen, I talked about Khabib's mental issues. Let me talk about McGregor's. I think McGregor also will have some fear in this fight. Okay, as much as he's convincing himself that this is going to be an easy fight, and I haven't heard him say such a thing, but I'm assuming he's going to say that. I'm assuming McGregor is going to say, this is easy, this is nothing, the guy's slow, he's got no footwork, his takedowns are going to miss, he's never going to score one takedown. He's going to say all these things, for sure, 100%. However, he knows, and we all know, I'm going to lower the gain here, guys. Let me know if it sounds better. I think we all know that if he gets taken down, he can be embarrassed, he can be humiliated, and very likely he can be very, very injured. He can end up in a fight where he's going to get hit over and over again, similar to Michael Johnson, and just like really injured. You know, either concussion, broken bones, injury. Like, he can get his shoulder wrenched off. I mean, he can get, he can get armbarred and his arm, really ripped off. I think he can get put in a very, very dangerous situation. Why? Because he's not going to want to quit. I just heard did I push a button? No, I think I'm still good. I think he can get really hurt with the ground and pound, the elbows, the smashing, and he's not going to want to quit. It's such a big fight, title on the line, champion versus champion, like this. It's going to be a mega fight. The referee's not going to want to stop it too early. Why? Because it's a mega fight. People are paying big bucks. People are flying in from all over the world. It's a high-profile fight. There's a lot on the line. You got to let it go. And there's 5 rounds of that, So he could be in a very dangerous situation where he might have to quit on his stool or something like that. I think he knows those things. Now, I think McGregor's smart enough not to think about those things, because those kind of thoughts just don't help. If they happen, they happen. I think he's wise enough. But I think that Khabib will remind him. Khabib's going to tell him over and over again and try to place that picture in the mind of McGregor. Now, McGregor's got a very strong mental game, and so does Khabib. We're going to have to sit back, wait, and watch and see what happens, and I think we won't know till the fights, till the fight happens, and we'll see which one of them kind of yields. We didn't know. At least I didn't know that McGregor was so much in the head of Jose Aldo. They went on a world tour together. Then his rib was injured. Then they finally fought. The rematch. Not the rematch. They rescheduled the fight. And then after he lost, he had a chance to fight McGregor again, because McGregor's opponent and later on had to pull out. I think it was RDA. And Jose said, "Look, I'm not ready. I don't have a training camp." But you said that you wanted to get back in the ring with him right away. And I just think that Jose, mentally, there was a thing. He just doesn't like McGregor's style, or he's trashed, or he just doesn't want to, have to talk to McGregor. Whatever it is, he seems bothered. And what tells me he seems bothered is the way he fought. He did the total opposite of what he's been trained to do. So that's my opinion on that. We'll have to see on fight night. Do they follow their game plans? For us, do you think Conor will pressure Khabib like the other fights? Yes. McGregor has this phenomenal pressure where he kind of walks up to you, and he forces you to trade out a million, he forces you to make a million decisions per second. Like, he's just right there in front of you. His hands are reaching out, they're touching your hands, and he's like throwing these little shots, and he's kind of faking you. And he did it with Jose Aldo beautifully. He was just, even though it was just a 13-second fight, I understand that, but he came out like a rocket, went to the center of the ring, and he did already like 6 maneuvers before Jose threw those punches. In a span of 13 seconds, McGregor was pretty busy. He did an oblique kick, he did a jab, he did a bob and weave. I mean, he was just like feinting, and he was in full action. Like, he had a whole list of things he wanted to throw. He did it also with Alvarez. That's such a great point, that pressure of McGregor. It's going to be very interesting, because he's also flirting with fire, because that single that Khabib throws, he shoots it from far away. The way he took down Iaquinta was quite far away, and he did it a very low single, which you can't really sprawl against. You got to kind of defend with a limp leg, and Iaquinta defended it once or twice with a limp leg, but he also got taken down a few times. And if you don't know how to limp leg, if you're not a limp leg master, and I don't know how McGregor's limp leg is. I don't know if it's any good. I haven't seen him do it. It's hard to stop that low single. It's hard to get. It's hard to grab, but Khabib's proven time and time again that he can do it. It's going to be a little bit easier to do it on McGregor. Why? Because we talked about it earlier. I don't know if you guys remember. I was mentioning that when you're fighting a southpaw, that lead leg is closer to you. It's actually easier to shoot a single than it is to shoot a double. So I don't know if he's going to put too much pressure on that. It's a tough one. All right, will McGregor's wide stance make takedowns difficult? I would say it would take, because for those of you who don't know, McGregor's got a wider stance than your typical boxer. Okay, I personally believe that it makes the takedowns easier for Khabib. So that's another plus in the Khabib corner. Okay, the wide stance makes it easier for low kicks and easier to shoot single legs. In my opinion, it's a little bit tougher for McGregor to limp leg out of those low singles. Mighty X, McGregor is just overrated. LOL. Well, Mighty X, I wouldn't agree. I think he's won the 145-pound belt and the 155-pound belt in style against top opponents. He's definitely a seasoned fighter. He's definitely gifted. I doubt that he's overrated. He is a solid fighter. Even if he gets taken down and humiliated in round one and just gets, let's say he gets taken down the first 30 seconds and Khabib slaps on a rear naked choke, squeezes the life out of him, puts him out to sleep, I would still tell you that McGregor is one of the best pound-for-pound fighters to ever do it. I would still tell you that. He's proven himself. And guys, we don't know until these two fighters get in the ring. And we don't know until, you can look good on the pads, you can look good in practice. We don't know how good you are until you get out there and show us where you rank in the world. And McGregor's done that, okay? He's done that. He's definitely not overrated. Yes, Gleison Tebow was the name I was looking for. Thank you, Harish. Farasnos Alvarez was bought. No, Alvarez was not bought. I know McGregor's got that payroll, okay? But I know Alvarez a little, okay? He's from Jersey. I doubt there's any amount of money in the world that would make him throw that fight, okay? He was just caught. He got caught. McGregor's got that reach. He's got that distance. He's got that skill. He's got that precision. He's got that timing. He's proven it over and over again. It is a bad matchup stylistically for Alvarez. McGregor, when he's got that reach advantage on you, man, he just knows what to do with it. He's a brilliant distance fighter. Let's see. What else we got here? Conor haters make up every excuse under the sun. Young voicemail. Yes, Young voicemail. Might be some Conor hate. Yeah, that might be some Conor hate from Mighty X. Could be some Conor hate. But look, at the end of the day, he racks up those wins. And this is a tough fight for Khabib and a tough fight for Conor, guys. This is a high-risk fight for both of them. Again, I see it 50-50. And it seems like you guys also see it 50-50. Because when I asked you guys to vote M or K, you guys were it seemed about 50-50 to me. All right, UFC is no sport. It is an entertainment company. You can rig fights legally. Alan Quarterman, you're mixing up UFC with WWE, my friend. Believe me, I'm octagon side very, very often. I'm with the fighters up until the fight, after the fights, in between the action. I get in the ring. I get in the octagon. I'm telling you, I'm seeing and hearing those shots. They are 100% real. All the fights are 100% real. Believe me, 100% real. And if you doubt it, my friend, you're just inexperienced when it comes to MMA. Believe me, these fights are real. Khabib is gonna clean rig UFC. I gotta ban you, Alan. No, I'm not gonna ban you. Okay, you have the right to your opinion. That's your opinion. But dude, honestly, man, they're just not rigged. These are real, 100% real shots being thrown in there, and real fights. Do you think Khabib will have trouble closing distance, given how Conor manages distance? I don't think so. I don't know. I'm up on the fence. I think he can get hit on the way in, but he's got to get in. You're right. I mean, it's 50-50. I don't know. It's a tough one. Do you think Conor fears Khabib? In a way, yes. In a way, I think he knows in his heart of hearts that he can get taken down and really crushed. I would be scared of. I would be worried about being taken down. I think everybody who fights Khabib thinks that. I think everybody, and it'll help you. That fear could be healthy. Not fear of losing, but being aware of what he's strong at, what he's good at. You got to be aware of what your opponent is good at. Because if you're not, you're just gonna get taken down, and reality is just gonna crush you. Okay, there's a reality to Khabib's takedowns. They're good. They're effective. They're strong. They're powerful. Look how many takedowns he scored in his career. For goodness sake, the man's a monstrous wrestler. And McGregor's an intelligent guy. He knows that. Will Conor throw dolly in the press conference? This is from Samim. Will he throw a dolly in the press conference? I doubt it. I probably think he'd get arrested if he were to do such a thing. No dollies thrown in this fight. What percentage of people saying Khabib are not Khabib fans, but Conor haters? Like, how many would watch Floyd to see him lose? Evando, I don't know how it influences at the end of the day. It's not what I really do, but at the end of the day, it was about 50-50. I don't hate on Conor. I hate on Bling Bling. Alan Quarterman. Alan, you're on fire today, man. Listen, The guy likes to flash. He makes big bucks. He likes to flash. It's not my thing, when I make big bucks, I don't like to flash it either. I like to, be normal. But that's that's his own personal thing. Will GSP face the winner? Well, listen, I would love that. I would love to see that. I would love to see GSP face the winner. But will that happen? I don't know. We'd have to wait and see. Lots of things, lots of people waiting in line, lots of politics behind the scenes. So we'll have to wait and see. What else we got here? Faraz, do you think if Conor gets knocked down on Khabib, if he gets a knockdown on Khabib, he will... On Khabib. Khabib will... I'm sorry, I'm not sure what you're writing. Do you think if Conor gets a knockdown on Khabib, will Conor follow up to finish on the ground? Or will he let him stay standing like he did with Diaz? Okay, you got to use commas, dude, because you're kind of confusing me. I think if he hurts Khabib, he's not going to... if Khabib hits the ground, he's going to want to let him back up. He's going to tell... I think he would, he knows Khabib will be a sitting duck. If you go down on the ground with Khabib, you might get tied up and give Khabib a chance to recover, okay? Now, if he's down in a way that's dazed and McGregor can kind of clear the legs and land those shots, kind of Anderson Silva style, kind of like what what McGregor did against Alvarez, I think he'll do it, okay? Because sometimes you just feel like the guy's there and I could reach him, I can hurt him a little more. But if, let's say, he knocks him down and there's plenty of time on the clock, I think he might just wave to the referee, meaning stand him back up and let me finish him off. Because going on the ground, Khabib might be giving Khabib the time, and because he's very comfortable with jiu-jitsu. Now, Alvarez is a little less comfortable with jiu-jitsu, more comfortable with the wrestling. But when it comes to playing jiu-jitsu, and I don't know if you guys know this, but Khabib has a submission off his back. I think one or two in his earlier career, he did get put on his back, and his guard was good, and that was very early in his career. You could see those fights on Fight Pass. I've watched a couple of them, okay? Early in his career, he's been taken down on the mat. And he's, that's when he was really, really young, guys. And he had a guard game. He was doing omoplata, triangle. He was doing I think it was an armbar triangle combination. He had a good guard. I'm sure he works the guard every so often. I've seen him in the practice room. He was playing guard. He did work some guard. So, he's not naive on his back. Okay? He's not naive at all. So, I'm sure McGregor is very aware of that. Best way to deal with a smaller pressure fighter? Well, listen, guys, I want to keep... Sorry, I should have pre-read that first. Keeping this fight on McGregor versus Khabib only, guys. This is a McGregor versus Khabib episode only. Why? Who's going to have the weight advantage in this fight? Tough call. I think it'll probably be a slight edge to Khabib. Slight edge, but not much. I don't know. I have a feeling the last fight, Khabib was really, really trim. I actually saw him the day before his fight. I saw him the day of the weigh-in. We crossed paths. We chatted a little bit. I shook hands with Khabib. And I felt he wasn't much bigger than me. And I've stood next to McGregor. And McGregor was a little bit smaller than me. That was when McGregor was fighting at 145. He's a little... I think I'm 5'9.5". I would say McGregor's 5'8.5". And I would say Khabib... Well, again, Khabib was cutting weight, right? And I kind of pictured Khabib... I saw him also on fight day. But picturing him on the weigh-in, height-wise, he was about... I would say... probably exactly my height. And in terms of thickness, I'm sure between camps, I've chatted with him between camps. I've actually hung out with Khabib for quite a bit, and his dad quite a bit. I've talked to his dad, even though with a translator and a couple other Russian dudes that were with him. We were kind of chit-chatting about his fights, and a number of times. And one time it was me, Khabib, and his dad chit-chatting for well over an hour. We're talking about, and Khabib was translating for me and then talking to his dad. And, that was when Khabib was off season. He was bigger than me. But in terms of height, I would say he's 1 inch probably taller than McGregor. Maybe about an inch. Thicker, I think they're going to be probably about the same thickness. Maybe Khabib a little more. Because in the last fight, I think that Khabib, for those of you who don't remember, Khabib missed weight. He couldn't make weight when he fought Ferguson at one point. He got really sick. He went to go to the hospital. He wasn't doing well. I think he's really tightened that up. I think he's really trimmed down earlier or lower than usual. I think he's more trimmed than usual. His fight against Iaquinta, that was something I was a little bit concerned that is the trimming, cutting weight a little bit more, he's cutting weight more strictly a little earlier. I'm not sure what he's done, okay? I don't want to say that I know what he's done, but he seemed more trimmed than usual, but his endurance seemed great. It didn't seem like he was drained at all. So I think Khabib will come in like he came in against Iaquinta, ready to do 5 hard rounds, really trim, making sure that he makes the weight cut easily. And from what I understand, he doesn't use a dietitian. He's been cutting weight his whole life. He does it his own way. I think he's just going to be more strict than usual, and he'll get down to weight, and he'll be trim. Not as big as he's been in the past. Okay, because in the past, we've seen him be really big in the octagon. I didn't find him to be that big against the Iaquinta fight. But maybe that's because Iaquinta was really big and just kind of made a contrast. We'll see on fight night. But I'm very convinced that McGregor will have the reach advantage. Now, even if the reach is the same, McGregor fights long, and that makes a big difference. Khabib doesn't fight super long. Okay, what do I mean by that? You make every inch count. Whereas some fighters, they have long reaches and they just fight in the pocket. They don't use their reach at all. Whether they had the reach or not, they don't take that into account. McGregor works with millimeters. Okay, he's an outside fighter. He's a sniper. He's not a machine gun. He's more of a sniper, and he's gonna use that reach. He's gonna use that reach wisely. All right, what else we got here? Okay, with the money Conor has, what is the possibility he can afford PEDs that can fool USADA? Can you blame him? Question mark. A lot is on the line for this fight. Well, Spencer Thomas, thank you for that donation. Listen, I do blame him. Yes, if you take PEDs and you win a fight, you didn't really win that fight. In my opinion, you're not the best. You're not the champ. How could you raise your hand? You're on PEDs. The guy you're fighting is not. Like, honestly, don't you have some honor? Don't you have some, like, wouldn't it bother you? I know I would be tossing and turning every night thinking that I'm a cheater, thinking that, every time somebody were to praise me or congratulate me on my hard work, or every time I would tell somebody what it takes to be a champion, what it takes to be good, what it takes to be successful, I would feel like I'm just a bag of lies. I'll just be a bag of lies. Like, there's nothing authentic about it. Now, when you're a fake, I think you're a small man. Like, if you cheat and you take the credit for cheating, in my opinion, that's just I don't know, man. Like, you're a superficial, shallow human being. Spencer, I really think you gotta reflect on your life a little bit here, because you're saying, can you blame him? Question mark. There's a lot on the line. Now, look, I get it. I get that a lot of these young kids. Excuse me, guys. I gotta move some chairs around. I get it that a lot of these young kids feel the pressure. Why? The pressure. Well, their whole life is on the line almost. I want to say, not their life, their livelihood, I should say. If they lose, they get half their pay. They're already broke. They need to win, So I get it. I get it that there's safety on the line. Excuse me, guys. I gotta move this chair here. There's safeties on the line. They're like, hey, I think the other guy is doing it. I get it. There's a pressure to say, I need to do this. I think the other guy's on it, and kind of make excuses for what you're doing. Okay, I think a lot of fighters do that. However, I highly don't recommend it. I think you should fight the guy honestly, fair and square, and most of all, not only because it'll be an authentic win, because you got to put your health on the line. Think about this. Okay, for those of you who take steroids, and I'm not an expert on this. This is just my opinion. You're putting things in your body that you don't know what they can do. They can give you a cancer. They can give you a disease. They can give you a abnormality in your brain. You can irreparably damage your liver or your heart. You can do some irreversible damage to your body. It could take away 20 years from your life. It could do some psychological change to your mind. Irreversible. It can make you crazy. It can make you whatever it can do to you. You're pumping chemicals in your body. Even the doctor might not know what you've done to yourself. You've pumped, for how long, how much have you taken, what have you taken? You're buying it on the black market. You don't know exactly what's in these things. You think you know what you're doing, but you really don't. Why would you put your health on the line? To impress some people, to win a couple of fights? Life is too precious. Keep your health number one. Fighting is something we do for fun. Don't take it that seriously. Fighting is a way to put food on the table as well. I get it. However, there are other ways to put food on the table. I personally never fought professionally, but if I did, I don't think I would never take steroids. Why? Because my health is worth more. Think about it. You might never see your grandchildren because you wanted to win a couple of fights in your youth. Like, that's just kind of dumb. Even if there's $1 million on the line, I don't think I would do it. I don't think if there's $100 million on the line, I don't think I would. What amount is there for your honor and your health? Think about it, and think about what kind of person that makes you. You'd be a dishonest man. What is it to take? How much does your honesty and authenticity cost? For me, it's invaluable. Which is better, Conor's grappling or Khabib's striking? Oof, that's a good question. Connor's grappling or Khabib striking? That's a good question, dude. Well, I can say that you've honestly stumped me on this one. Is this who asked such a brilliant question? Who is this man? You scrolled up here pretty fast. Try to find your name. I'm gonna give you credit for such a great question. Unfortunately, I've lost you. Dope. Sorry about that. I lost you. But whoever was that asked that question, that's a brilliant question. I gotta officially say I'm stumped. I don't know. That's a great question. Who has eaten up the deficit? Who has closed the deficit more? It's a tough one, man. I actually have no idea. Honestly, have no idea. Can't say. Too tough to call, my friends. What's better, Khabib striking compared to McGregor's striking, or McGregor's grappling compared to Khabib's? Man, that's a tough one to call. You got me stumped, dude. I honestly don't know. I have to say 50-50. I would have to say 50-50. I just don't know. Felix believes it's Connor's grappling 100%. Connor for sure. Well, I guess if you guys are Connor fans, it might make sense. I don't know. Is Connor a good grappler? Well, you know what? He's a good grappler. He's not a great grappler. He's a good grappler. He's not a great grappler. Khabib is a great grappler. He'll make your average black belt seem like a fool. And I don't think McGregor even has his black belt yet. I believe he's a blue belt still. Excuse me. Pardon me. He's a brown belt from what I understand. Anybody out there who knows, please correct me in the comments. I believe he is a brown belt in jiu-jitsu. And Khabib is known for taking seasoned black belts and twisting them in knots. So that's something to think about. Can Conor catch Khabib with a submission from the guard? Possible, but highly unlikely. Possible, but highly unlikely. Now, highly unlikely doesn't mean it's never going to happen. It can happen. It's just unlikely. Now, Pettis caught Dan Henderson from the guard with an armbar. Now, Benson Henderson. Now, Benson Henderson is one of the best submission escape artists in the game. And he got caught in an armbar in round 1. I believe it was round 1 of their fight, in their rematch. In their UFC rematch. So, you know, even the best grapplers can get caught. It happens. Welcome, Kylian Goof. New member. All right. Oh, guys, thank you. I got a new member. Guys, by the way, you guys can support this channel. Please join this channel. Support this channel. Show this channel some love. Go to jujiclub.com. Buy a mug. Buy a shirt. Check out my jiu-jitsu shirt. Okay, buy this nice, cool jiu-jitsu shirt. Get your heel hook everyone mug. Heel hook everyone mug. I don't know if you guys can see that. Heel hook everyone. This one's a 15 ounce for you coffee drinkers. I'm drinking water there because I'm still on my fast here. I'm not breaking my fast till right after this podcast. I'm trying to put my meal now between my morning practice and night practice, and keeping it really light so I don't get drained. And it's been working quite nicely. More on that in future episodes. But guys, please join the YouTube channel. Join my YouTube channel. It's $5 a month. Support this channel. I'm hoping to do more episodes. I'm probably going to shoot some episodes. Sorry, guys. I got to move this chair around. So you're hearing some noise in the background. Forgive that. I'm going to be maybe trying to do some episodes later at night when my kids are sleeping. I have some quiet time to myself, trying to add more podcasts, more content. My sponsors want more content. But the lighting is just so bad at night. I bought a new light, so when it comes in, if it works well, I might be shooting some episodes at night. But with you guys' support, we can take this channel to the next level, get busier and busier on this channel. What else we got here? Johnny, you're asking me, do you agree? Do I agree to what, Johnny? You got to put something for me to agree to on. What else we got here? What makes Conor different from Barboza? Good question. I think Barboza is such a great striker, but he's a different type of striker. He doesn't use the distance as much as he's more of a machine gun. Barboza is more of a machine gun than McGregor. McGregor is more of a sniper. McGregor is very good at counter punching, catching you on the way in. But it's a very, very good comparison in some ways. Why? Because it shows that that somebody with such great striking and who knows that what Khabib's going to do still couldn't fend off Khabib's wrestling and striking. It does show that. However, the fact that McGregor's a southpaw and the fact that he has that left hand from that touch of death, okay, it's a whole different ballgame. He's shown us that pressuring McGregor is not easy. Now, we've seen Barboza get pressured in the past. We've seen him deal with it well. We've seen him get pressured and overwhelmed. When he fought Ferguson, he was overwhelmed. When he fought Kevin Lee, he was overwhelmed. When he fought Khabib, he was overwhelmed. When he fought Danny Castillo, it was a lot better. I mean, he fought some guys and he did much better against pressure. However, can McGregor do better? I believe he can. I believe he can in a sense because he's got that left hand. That left hand, you can't just walk through that. And he plays to his reach a lot more than Barboza. Barboza kind of fights more compact and more of a machine gun style. He's less of a sniper, whereas McGregor is a sniper. Now, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if McGregor wins by KO in the first, or he gets crushed in the first by ground and pound and gets just totally mauled. It wouldn't surprise me either way. Honestly, nothing can happen in this fight that will surprise me. The only thing that would surprise me is that McGregor takes down Khabib, gets on top of him, and puts him in a fancy armbar or rear naked choke. That would surprise me. Yes, that would surprise me. Barring that, there's not much that will surprise me. I think anything can happen in this fight. It's a question of the decisions that these two men are going to make in the octagon that night. What do you think about... no, that's not a question relevant to this fight. Guys, please keep the questions relevant to this fight. How does one prepare for a genetically explosive left? Well, listen, you got to have incredible head movement, in my opinion. You got to throw combinations that don't leave you open to a left. And you got to tie him up. He's got to tie him up. We've seen McGregor, after clinching and wrestling for a prolonged period, he doesn't have explosive left hands anymore. He doesn't. Now, Alvarez knew that. He tried to close the distance and clinch, but he just couldn't get the tie-ups going. He just kept getting brushed off. And in my opinion, that happened a lot because he tried to box with McGregor too early. He didn't have the respect for McGregor's boxing as he should have. And to his credit, Alvarez admitted that. He said that he didn't follow the game plan at all. And he went in the opposite direction. He was supposed to go left, and he went right. Alvarez said he was supposed to go to his own left. He went right. And he said he just totally went against his own game plan that his coaches gave him. So it wouldn't surprise me that he got that result, because if he stuck to the game plan, maybe he could have done a lot better. I really believe Alvarez could have done a lot better. But if you make a wrong decision against McGregor is a great finisher. Let's not forget that. McGregor is probably one of the best finishers to ever do this, to ever play this game. Okay, now there are some other great finishers. Definitely McGregor's up there with them. All right, guys, I'm gonna wind this down here. Anything else you guys wanna? Russians are very cool-headed. Maybe that's true. That is probably true. But McGregor's also very good at getting in people's heads. We'll have to wait and see. How much would the odds change for Conor after the first takedown of Khabib? The odds will plummet down for McGregor. If Khabib gets a takedown, even just one, I think the odds of, unless it happens very late in the round, but he'll soften up. In my opinion, if he gets one takedown, he's just gonna grind. McGregor's gonna feel the strength of somebody who's been wrestling their whole life, a strength that he's never felt before. He's gonna feel a pressure and a power and a strength that he's never felt before. And he's going to be like, what is this? What is this? This is like somebody parked a truck on top of my chest. And I've had the privilege of wrestling with George and wrestling with Khabib-like guys, and I'm sure McGregor's has come across them. There's one of those guys that you go in the practice room and you're like, hey, I've been wrestling for 10 years, and this is very new to me. What is this? And Khabib, in my opinion, I've never wrestled him, but in my opinion, he seems like one of those guys. All right, guys, I'm going to be winding down here. Fire out your last few here. If Khabib pull out, we'll strip him. This is from Harish. If Khabib pulls out, will they strip him? I think so. I think it's very possible. They'll put an interim title because McGregor's got to fight. When McGregor does the training camp, he's going to fight. If Khabib pulls out for any reason, they're going to throw in another big name. They're going to probably put in Kevin Lee or anybody out there. And they're going to make a big fight because they're not going to let McGregor sit out. I doubt they'd make McGregor sit out. Now, again, that's just my opinion. That's just how I see things. Will McGregor pressure make it easier to get the takedown or harder? That's a tough question. I definitely think McGregor has to pressure because if he tries to circle towards the fence, he'll get crushed. It's easier for Khabib to shoot on you if you're up against the fence. McGregor's going to come forward. He's done it in all his fights. He's going to come forward. Khabib's going to circle a little bit and probably shoot a low single. It's going to happen early. Guys, this is a very volatile fight. Anything can happen. So much can happen. Guys, please make sure to check out jujiclub.com. It's up on your screen. Jujiclub.com. Buy a mug, buy a shirt, support this channel. Join me here on YouTube. All right, I'm gonna do a little extra content for my members. Please subscribe to the YouTube membership. Please check out timtam.tech. Get a high-powered massager. If you train seriously, if you train on a regular basis, this thing will keep you young and flexible and mobile. It keeps pain away, but very importantly, it helps you recover. If you have a tight muscle, guys, don't let it get out of control. Don't let it creep up into injury. If you guys want to train with me at the Tristar Gym, email trisdorms@gmail.com. The email address is up on your screen. Email them. Tell them you want to come for a week, a month, a day. Drop in at the dorms. Sleep, eat, train. Eat, sleep, train. We are there every single day. I'm coaching every single day, morning and night. Okay, guys, I'm going to answer 2 more questions. Let's do 2 more. Hey, Faraz, will you call him Khabib? Excuse me. Hey, Faraz, why you call him Khabib? I think you can't pronounce his name correctly. It's Habib. I'm not sure. I think the announcers call him Khabib. I call him Khabib. I call him Khabib to his face. Hey, Khabib, how are you? He never corrected me. So I'm not sure if that. I know that the UFC takes the pain to try to learn how to pronounce your name correctly. So the commentators will ask you, if they're not sure, they will ask you the correct pronunciation of your name. There are interviews with the fighters that are done at the weigh-ins, at the press conferences. The commentators are there, so they'll walk up to you and they'll take notes. They try to pronounce your name correctly on air. So they pronounce it as Khabib. So I'm not sure if he pronounces his name as Habib. So I double check that. Martin says, McGregor never circles to the fence. Only the center of the octagon. Very true, and I think it's very wise for him, because if he does that against Khabib, he will get crushed up against the fence. It's just such a easier way for him to grab onto McGregor. Do you think Conor is on drugs? Now, I'm not sure which kind of drugs you're saying. A lot of people say, a lot of people wrote to me, hey, Conor McGregor is on cocaine and all sorts of drugs. Guys, I have no idea. How would I possibly know this? How would I possibly know if this man takes substances outside of performance-enhancing drugs? Does he take performance-enhancing drugs? I don't know. I don't think so. He doesn't look like a drug user to me. Again, I don't know. That's just my best guess. He does seem like a natural fighter. He doesn't seem like a guy who's overly muscular or a guy whose physique changes throughout the year. He seems pretty standard. He's very lean. I would say he has an ectomorph type body style, very naturally lean. Plus, he trains a lot. Obviously, he probably eats very well. I know he works with Lockhart, so he's on his diet. So it doesn't surprise me he's that lean. He's very dedicated to his craft. So for me, if I had to venture to guess, I would say that he's a clean athlete. What else we got here? Let's see. Will Conor have ring rust? I don't know. I think he's been fighting for such a long time. I don't really think ring rust will be a problem for him. Coke gives you fake confidence. Well, I've never done any drugs in my life, so I really wouldn't know. Some people say that it gives you like a lot of courage and stuff like that. I have no idea. Conor is not John Jones. Well, definitely he's not. Do you recommend Timtam to Khabib? I've actually sent him a few. I know he uses it. I know he likes the machine. Khabib, his manager's a friend of mine. I sent him a couple of units for the team, and they really enjoy them, for what I understand. They like them. They've ordered a few more. I sent them a couple. Do you consider Conor's takedown defense underrated? He's got a good takedown defense. I wouldn't say he's got great takedown defense. I think he's got very good takedown defense. Can Conor touch Khabib's chin before he gets taken down? That is the $1 million question, MTV Video Battles. That is the $1 million question. And I'm going to sign off on that. Guys, if he can take Khabib, if Khabib can take McGregor down to the ground, it's going to be a done deal. Guys, it's going to be, unless it's late in the round, it's going to be a beating, guys. It's going to be bad, in my opinion. If he cannot take down McGregor, it's going to be a beating, guys. It's going to be a McGregor show. I'm reminding you guys what I think of what's going to happen in this fight. I think this is going to be a 50-50 fight. Too close to call. Too hard to call. That's just my opinion. All right, guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Join my YouTube page. $5 a month. I'm going to send you guys some extra content. I'm filming later tonight as well. Hopefully some extra content once a month. And I'm probably going to do an extra AMA for you guys. Guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning in, sharing, liking. Let's make this channel grow and get more content going. Thank you all for tuning in, and see you all in the next episode.